we really appreciate your time with us today. You're an inspiration to everyone. Your career was crazy, exciting. You've been for a whole long time at Miami Heat, and before that at University of Miami. You're a real inspiration to all of us. What makes Bill Foran one of the most influential and best strength and conditioning coaches out there?
Wow, thank you. Yes, I'm thinking longevity because I've been around a long time and I've been with some pretty good teams, winning 2 national championships in football with the Miami Hurricanes and then 3 world championships with the Miami Heat. So when you're around good teams, you're around a long time, I guess people get to know you a little bit.
That's true. That's true. Coach, a quick question that comes to my mind. What is it like to coach, like LeBron James, Chris Bosh, Ray Allen, Dwayne Wade? All those superstars were part of your team. Even Hassan Whiteside, a fun thought that Hassan Whiteside played in Lebanon. I personally played against him.
Oh, really?
Yes. So that's like a fun fact. Also, Ronnie Saikeli, who's also Lebanese. Like I really like to know, how is it to train all those superstars?
And they're just genuine people. Outside, everybody sees them as celebrities. I see them as hardworking athletes and trying to help them.
That's true. That's true. So you've been doing it at Miami Heat for like 30 years?
Yeah, 31 seasons.
31 seasons. That's really amazing. And if you can talk more, how do you think of the programming for the off season? Maybe where do you focus more on recovery? On how do you think when it comes to programming, especially in the off season for the Miami Heat players, knowing that lots of players travel and stuff like that?
Yeah, right at the end of the season, we have the NBA season's crazy, 82 games and lots of travel. So at the end of the season, they need to recover. So they get away for about a month, and then guys start coming back in. We have an advantage because some people are all over the place, but athletes have to be in Miami. So we have an advantage that they want to be in Miami. And so if they're in town, they'll come in and start working out. And so after about a month, then we got to start doing something and start getting ready for the season, because we're kind of known as the best conditioned team in the NBA in a lot of circles. Having Pat Riley as the hammer makes a huge difference, but it's kind of the Heat culture. This is what we do, and they come in and get ready. And so weight training is a big part of that. We in the off season do 4-day split routines. Upper day, 2 uppers a week and 2 lower bodies a week. And that fits into our schedule real well, because on upper body training, that's conditioning day. And then on the lower body training, we get the agility and plyos in. So it fits real well.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Always excited to hear that from you. And that's always food for thought. So, Coach, what's it like? What's the process for anyone, any ambitious coach, to make it to the NBA? Like, everyone wants to be there, but it definitely needs connections, and it needs definitely needs hard work. But what's Bill Foran's idea on that?
Yeah, the first thing, because I get that a lot from young coaches, and I get young coaches right out of college that want to be my assistant. I say, wait a minute, I started out at the high school level. I went to the college, a bigger college, and you got to climb the ladder. But the big thing, get your education. And as you're getting your education, like if you're in college, you need to start working with athletes, either volunteer or internships. You need that experience. And then your certifications, your CS. And as you're getting those things, then you got to network, and start to meet people and see where it goes. Now, for me, it's kind of crazy, because the Heat came along in 1988 was their first season, 88, 89.
Wow, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah. In their first year, they practiced at University of Miami. I was the University of Miami strength and conditioning coach, and they asked me to help out. And the Heat allowed me to do that. So I was working with them at the college when I was with the university, and they approached me to come on full time after that first year. So I was their strength coach the first year, kind of as a consultant. But when I was hired, it was only the Miami Heat was only the sixth team in the NBA to have a full-time strength and conditioning coach. So it's really changed. So it's a little different now because there's strength and conditioning coaches, assistant strength and conditioning coaches, internships. There's sports performance directors. It's really, really, really grown. But the big thing for the young coaches is they network, and they may have to work for free and do internships and keep following your dream.
Honestly, Coach, I need to confess something. It's out of the questions I prepared. I want to say that before I went to Miami, coming from Lebanon, I still remember the day when I sent you a LinkedIn message and I told you what I'm thinking of. And you were like one of the main supporters. I honestly emailed lots of people. You are one of the few who replied. And trust me, this answer coming from you made me see a bright future ahead. And I kept pushing, like an answer, like a positive answer coming from your end, showing support and appreciating my education was a big thing. So thank you for that. Honestly, as a young coach back then, it was like a milestone for me, like Bill Foran giving me this type of motivation. I'm now in Lebanon having this Miami Fitness Factory gym. But honestly, I always tell my students and my clients those humble words I heard from you. So thank you again for this. Any young coach would love to hear those words from a bigger and more experienced coach like you. So thank you for that.
Yes, nice to hear. And I always try to help out the young guys in the profession. That's something I think the older guys in the profession have been around a while, help the younger ones. And I'm glad to hear that.
That's amazing. Coach, two final questions, or maybe three. What do you think is lacking in this industry, in the United States specifically, or even worldwide? I know you follow what's happening in this industry all over the world. So what do you think is really lacking today?
It's a different profession than, say, athletic trainers. Athletic trainers get their degrees, and they have a license, and they tape ankles and deal with rehab. But the strength and conditioning world comes from everywhere. There's physical therapists that become a strength and conditioning coach. There's people into powerlifting. There's Olympic lifting. So there's just not one road that gets us here.
Right.
And so because of that, it's kind of all over the place with some, so some teams, they're only into corrective exercises and movements. Other teams understand the importance of a durable athlete needs to strength train. So that's the thing. There's all kinds of things going on in the strength and conditioning world that makes it different than physical therapy, athletic training, those things.
Definitely.
How do you correct that? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's different. So,
Coach, that's like a random question. You've been with all these players since maybe Ronnie Cycli and all those guys till the young kids today. Who is the most dedicated player you ever coached? I know it's a tough question, but might you have one quick answer on that comes to your mind?
I do have one, and I've dealt with a lot of superstars, and this guy wasn't a superstar, but a quick story is Keith Askins. Keith Askins came from University of Alabama, and he got a tryout with the Miami Heat. Just one of our coaches was friends with the head coach at Alabama, so he says, "Okay, come down, just give him a tryout." He was 185 pounds, and this was the early 90s. He came in, outworked everybody, and made the team.
Wow!
The next year, he came in and outworked it. It's for a one-year contract. So he got a one-year contract, came in the next year, had to make the team again. The next year, 5 straight years, he had one-year contracts, and he just comes in and outworks everybody. He went from 185 to 194 to 204. He ends up at 6'8", 220, had a very good three-point shot. defender and had a nice NBA career, ended up being one of our assistant coaches. He's now one of our scouts. But the big thing with Keith is, and want to know when my vacation was, so he'd take it at the same time, so he'd never miss a workout. So that was the kind of dedication that he thought he was going to go into business, and he ends up having a nice career in the NBA because of his work ethic. So I always like to tell that story. But I've got one more story. You mentioned Ronnie Cycli.
Right.
Ronnie was our first ever draft pick for the Miami Heat. And he was a center out of Syracuse. And he came to us. He comes in, and this is when I was at University of Miami. He comes in and says, I'm here to work out, but I don't squat. That's the first thing. So I said to Ron, we do a 4-day split routine. Today's upper body, tomorrow is lower body, and we squat differently here. That's all I said to him. Next day he walked in. He says, how do you squat differently here? I said, we squat correctly. And that caught his attention a little bit. Well,
definitely.
He started because our first draft pick, we went with the youth movement. So at 6'10", 230 pounds, he was a starting center in the NBA, and he was not ready for the physicalness of the NBA centers and got ate up that first year. But to Ronnie's credit, the next summer, he spent the whole summer, did not miss a workout, went from 230 pounds to 252 pounds, increased vertical jump 3 inches, stayed body fat 8%, was voted the most improved player in the NBA. So he's an amazing story for the franchise to see what strength and conditioning could do for a basketball player. They keep the strength coach around for a few years.
Definitely.
So,
those are two great stories to share. Like, trust me, lots of young athletes need to hear this, especially after I post this interview, because sometimes it's sad when you see athletes having the facilities, having the support system, having the good coaches around them, and then they don't show this sense of, they don't show this drive that gets them to the next level. Like those two stories are like enough to show us how big this is. So thanks for sharing that. Coach, I know you have a long day. I don't want to keep you on the call. One last thing. We really would love to have you here in Lebanon. Like that's a dream come true for us right here. And if this is gonna happen soon, it's definitely gonna be through Miami Fitness Factory, because Miami likes Miami. So first of all, hopefully let the fans know. Hopefully you have the will to come anytime soon, any coming summer to Lebanon.
Sounds great. I mentioned my schedule. I try to do an international speaking trip somewhere each year. And next summer, it's going to be Slovenia. I'm going back. Foran is from Slovenia.
Right.
And I haven't been there yet. My son, who's now the head strength coach with the Heat, has been over a couple years with Goran. I haven't been there yet. So we're going to put on a seminar over there next summer. So
nice.
Lebanon's on my radar. How's that?
That sounds great. We trust you on that. And I want to end it with this thing. We have a slogan here called "Trust the Factory." Does Bill Foran trust the factory?
I trust the factory.
Coach, thank you so much. You're like a really humble person, and you're like a school of thought in strength and conditioning. We want to keep learning from your methods and thought process. Hopefully, when I'm down in Miami and you have time, I'd love to meet you in person. Thank you so much for this quality time you gave us over here. And I'm sure lots of athletes and fans are going to learn a lot from this talk.
Sounds great. Thanks, Amir. And yeah, hope to see you in Miami soon.
For sure, Coach. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.